been about. So the same person who showed me this prison map sent this to me, this census map from the 1860. We counted slaves. And we had a lot of slaves in 1860, and they were counted as property. Now, to show you how many slaves we had, I darkened the areas here. The red areas here have slave populations of 50% or more. 50% or more. If you go along the Mississippi River, you have 86%, 92%. That means 9 out of every 10 people along the Mississippi River in these areas were slaves. 91%, 82, 74. If you go to my home state of South Carolina, there were more slaves in the state than free. And I never heard about this until the past few years. I have an animated version of this map. So we talk about the commodities. We talk about rice, indigo, tobacco, and all these different crops. But the slaves were also commoditized as well. They were property. My brother Delbert back there is a collector of artifacts, and check out his work. But I've been collecting now for about 4 years at a very highly accelerated speed. And I have deeds of sale of slaves. I recently bought a deed of sale for a slave in Maryland it was for a 3-year-old slave. So as soon as you walked, you were a slave. And I don't think the slavery was just in the South. It was also in the North as well. New York had one of the biggest slave ports. And in the Tribeca neighborhood of New York, there's an estimated 15,000 to 30,000 slaves buried there, some as young as 5 years old, and they can tell that they were worked to death by the bone structure. Their bones are bent. And they tried to cover that up. They discovered the grave sites in the early 90s, which we know they knew before then. They just didn't care. Just like a Native American burial site, it didn't matter. So I have this show called Rewind, which was called Recapitulation. And actually the first showing of Rewind was at the Fort Culture Gallery in 2013. It was called Recapitulation. And then it started evolving. I started adding Klan robes and other sculptures. But the first showing of Rewind, I included, before Rewind I started including images of lynching. I wanted to have a more palatable image of lynching. So I thought, I'll make it out of musical notation. That way it won't hurt white fragility, letting them know that they used to kill black people and make it into a spectator sport. So I was, trying to be the nice, non-threatening black guy. And then in 2012, I heard about lynching postcards. So I said, this is ridiculous. So I would buy lynching postcards, I would find them, and I decided to animate them, to bring them to life, to tell that story. Yes, people would take pictures of lynchings and make them into postcards and give them to their friends and put messages on the back like, hey, how's it going? Just hanging out? Ha ha ha. This is real. So I animated this series. It's called Stories from the Trees. I'm going to play an excerpt from this in a little bit. But this is the first postcard I animated. I have to go back to this image real quick. The reason I wanted to animate this card, for it to be the first card, was there are 3, 4, and 5-year-olds that are in this picture. So you see the kids are brought to this event. Some of these lynchings were witnessed by 10,000 or more people. And I have pictures of lynch mobs and crowds. And yeah, it was like kids were brought during their lunch break from school to see the bodies of this. And during this time as well, the body parts were sold. You know, fingers, charred body parts, hair, were sold as souvenirs. Actually, the Smithsonian has some hair from a victim of lynching, as well as a rope. So I'm a method artist. I like